Have you ever felt like you needed to cut out all of the foods that you loved if you wanted to lose weight? Well, a few months ago, I did an experiment for 30 days where I ate ice cream every single day because I wanted to show you that you can include the foods that you love into your diet and still lose weight. In this video, I'll show you exactly how much weight I was able to lose through the process. And by the end, you'll know exactly how you can include the foods that you love into your weight loss journey so you can start to develop a healthier relationship with food with a simple 4-step plan. And this advice is from my own personal experience with struggling with weight loss and losing and gaining the same 40 pounds because I kept avoiding the foods that I liked. But through that whole process, I finally figured things out, and I've made it my life mission to help other people build healthy eating habits that lead to sustainable weight loss. All right, let's watch a little recap of the 30 days of my ice cream diet, and then we'll go over each point more in depth after. I've been eating ice cream every day for the last 30 days, and I've lost over 9 pounds during that time. The reason why I did this experiment was to show everyone that you can lose weight without giving up the foods you love or saying no to social events and living your life. And to do something like this for yourself, there's a few things you need to consider and keep in mind when you're going through it. Number 1, to get the fastest results, you need to track your calories. This will ensure that you can be as consistent as possible with the amount that you're eating, and so you can fit in the sweet treats that you want. Although this isn't the only way to approach nutrition for weight loss, it is the fastest route there. Number 2, you have to be prepared and you have to practice forward thinking. If you know you're going out to dinner, look at the menu ahead of time, decide what you'll have, input that into your food tracking app, and plan your other meals for the day around that. For example, on this day, I was going to happy hour with some friends, and so I looked at their menu, decided on tacos, tracked it, and I made my food choices for the rest of the day around the calories and protein I had left. Number 3, the amount of food you eat matters a lot to determine how full and satisfied you are after eating. So a full belly will make being in a calorie deficit so much easier because you won't have to deal with as much hunger. And there's no right or wrong. There's just a decision you have to make. If you have a hard time being consistent with your calorie deficit because your hunger and cravings get the best of you, then eating a large volume of food for equal calories will make achieving your goals of weight loss easier. That's it. And number 4, and lastly, you have to understand that you can't mess this up. You literally cannot fail unless you quit. Having an off meal that you didn't plan for means nothing. Eating more one day won't matter, and all you have to do is move on and get back on track. And actually, you will slip up. I'll tell you this right now. And you want to know why? Because you're human. You're not perfect. So give yourself grace and stop thinking you have to be so perfect. Perfection doesn't exist. And that kind of pressure will only lead you to having that screw it moment. And again, the rate of loss that I had isn't sustainable. And let's be honest, this is what I help people do for a living. And there's a financial incentive for me, which probably isn't the case for you. So who cares if you lose weight at a slower rate? I hope through this 30-day experiment, you learn that you can eat your favorite foods and still lose weight. And in fact, it's the best way to do it. All right, I started the experiment at 172.8 pounds, and by the end, I was 163.4 pounds. I lost 9.4 pounds through that 30 days. And again, I want to remind you that my approach was more on the extreme side as far as how fast and how much weight I lost. But I did that really intentionally because I wanted to prove a point with this experiment. I wanted the results to be so undeniable to prove to you that this is possible. So after we talk about the 4 points more in depth, I'll go over a sustainable and healthy rate of loss that you can shoot for on your own journey. All right, number 1 is know your calorie deficit. This is going to be your starting point. So think of your calorie deficit like a budget. It's the amount of energy that you can eat in order for you to reach your goals. So what happens when you overspend your budget? You go into debt. So figuring out your budget or how much you can spend is the first step. If you need a calorie calculator to figure out your budget, the first link in the description is where you can get mine, and it will also show you how to figure out your protein goal so you can keep your muscle while you're losing weight. Now that you have your budget, you know how much you can spend, which brings us to point 2. Number 2 is to plan ahead and track your treats or your indulgences first, and then fit everything else around it. This way you are being intentional about it, which is completely different from doing it just because you didn't have food prepared or it's the easy decision. And that also means it's a part of your plan. And so there's no shame, there's no guilt around this. And this is how you start to build a healthy relationship with food. On most days, I knew what kind of ice cream I would be having that day. And so I logged it first thing in the morning or the night before. And that way I know how much calories I have left to eat. I know how much protein I need to hit. And as long as I stayed within my calories, give or take 100, and hit my protein, give or take 10 grams, it was a success. Which also brings up another point. Stop trying to be so exact when you're hitting your calories and your macros. You're not a machine, and if you're not a bodybuilder or a professional actor or someone who gets paid by the way their body looks, you don't have to be so strict with it. A little bit of cushion is perfectly fine. Like I just mentioned, I like to give the clients who are tracking their calories plus or minus 100 for the calories and then plus or minus 10 grams for their protein or whatever macros they're tracking. So what does that look like? Let's say your calorie budget is 1800 calories and 130 grams of protein. Instead of being so rigid and thinking you need to hit these numbers exactly, which can bring up a lot of stress, anywhere between 1700 to 1900 calories is perfectly fine. And for your protein, anywhere between 120 and 140 grams is fine. Number 3, be smart about your food choices. Specifically, including higher volume, low calorie foods can help you stay full. Your stomach has stretch sensors, which send a signal up to your brain to tell you that you're full. So including more foods that will fill your belly up for less calories can help you stay consistent through this. And I want to clear this up. It's much more than that, because with that theory, we could technically eat 4 pounds of broccoli. That's a lot of broccoli for very little calories, and you'll be stuffed. You're going to feel full for a little while, on top of having bad gas probably, but this will break down really quickly and then you'll be hungry after an hour. And that's why adding things like protein, dietary fats, and fiber helps so much on a weight loss journey. It's because it slows the breakdown of your food, which keeps you full longer. And if you're full for longer, you can stay more consistent with your efforts. And number 4, and lastly, you cannot mess this up. I hope you really take this message in. I want you to get out of this all or nothing mindset. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. If you can do that, it's only a matter of time until you reach your goal. So instead of me just saying, oh, be consistent, just don't give up, what does that actually look like? If you run out of time one day, or you're just so exhausted from your workday and you can't do your regular workout that was an hour, just do something. Go for a walk. Do a 15-minute workout. Anything is better than nothing. And you doing that still puts you one step closer into becoming the person who you want to become, to have the life and the health that you are striving for. So if you slip up one day and have a meal off plan, that's okay. Just get back on track the next day. Heck, just get back on track the next meal. You're one decision away from getting back on track. And if these slip-ups are a gateway to you totally going in the opposite direction, it's probably your approach to this. It's probably too extreme. Your calorie deficit is too much and you're exhausted and you're burnt out. So be mindful about that as well. All right, as promised, what is a safe and sustainable rate of loss to shoot for per week? That is going to be anywhere from 0.5% to 1% of your total body weight. So an example, if I weighed 150 pounds, 0.5% of 150 would be 0.75 pounds, and then 1% of that would be 1.5 pounds. So anywhere within this range is a good and sustainable rate of loss to shoot for. And I want to give you a little bit more in here. This is after the first few weeks, because your rate of loss will slow as you continue this. It's because in the beginning, you're dropping a lot of water weight. You're dropping a lot of food that have been just in your belly. So the first few weeks, you're going to experience more weight loss. So just be prepared for that. I hope this was helpful. If you want to work with me one-on-one, I'll leave a link down in the description so you can learn more about online coaching. And YouTube thinks you might like this video next, so go ahead and check it out. I'll see you there.